Hi there. Welcome to Grandview's Grumpy Cat Speaks. So, Grumpy Cat, what's on your mind today?
I'm not a grumpy cat. I'm not a grumpy cat, but
Yeah, right, but you are.
we can always get better.
So, what's on your mind today?
Well, today I was wandering around the campground and I find a sign in the ladies' room. I looked; there was one in the men's room too, about just how you're going to keep it clean and this and that and the other thing. And I walked around a little bit more around the campground. And I noticed there are other little signs here and there that say different things. And
Yeah,
I had a bunch of questions.
that's how we let people know.
So I was going to ask, about some of these questions. Some people are visitors. Some people are used to this, and they don't bother reading the questions. But you should know.
You should know.
You should know if you're going to have a guest or choose to have a guest
Mm-hmm.
come for the day,
Mm-hmm.
and you go in and you stay at the desk. I'd like to have a visitor for the day.
Yeah.
You have to pay for that visitor. A
Yes,
visitor
you
doesn't come
do.
just free for nothing.
Yes, you do.
Because
Mhm.
our little people who work here are real busy all the time doing things like
We
cleaning
sure are.
restrooms.
Yeah,
You
we
bet.
are. Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Well, yes, and I mean you do have to pay for visitors. One of the reason is that it affects our maintenance schedule, our supplies, little things that you don't think of. And they may seem like very little things, but they do add up.
They
It's like
do.
that old the last straw, the straw that broke the camel's back. Well, it's a little expense buying extra toilet paper here, a little extra with our landscaping, and we make the place beautiful, and we want it to be beautiful and beautiful for everybody and to stay that way. So there is a cost that goes along with having guests. So that's one of the reasons why we have to charge money for it.
Well, sometimes it's only one or two people that are coming for the afternoon.
Let's go back to the camel. The last straw is one or two here, one or two there. It's like when you leave something messy around the house. Like, well, I don't have time to make the bed, so I'm going to leave it unmade. Well, I'm not going to put my clothes away right now and next thing you know, you can't get into your own house. So it's
we all
like
do
that.
once in a while,
This
just
is
a
true.
little bit.
This is true.
Even
And one or
cats.
two guests is one or two guests.
That's right. One or two guests. It's just all they're going to do is sit around the campsite and visit with the people, which they should do when they're at home, not at the campground. but they say the excuse is we don't get to visit them, so if we come to the campground and they're there, we can visit with them.
And we have a lot of people that come out here to be with their family. And what better place than a beautiful campground? And if you want a beautiful campground and want it all the time, then you might want to think about being willing to pay for those visitors.
Well, if the visitors come in and they pay their little dues to get in and all that, know the rules of what they're doing, I don't understand why they think that they can park on the lot, on your lawn, where you got your lawn chairs and your fire pit.
This is true. And this is another important thing. Here at Grandview, we want everyone to feel, first of all, to enjoy the beauty of the campground and also to relax and enjoy. And if you got a lot of cars in here because you got a lot of visitors and stuff and everything, it feels like you're sitting at the parking lot at Walmart.
And people don't think about that. It's not just one car. If every third camper had a guest,
and
they all had a car.
Yeah, and here's another little point that our campers don't realize is that in our policies there are some that we have kind of let slip for these 13 years we've been in business, and one of those is paying for extra cars. Most places you have to pay for an extra car, and in our rules, in our price range there, it shows you have to pay extra for an extra car. But here we have not yet started to charge. So enjoy it while it's that way. Yeah, and we've got ample parking areas throughout the campground for as many visitors as we should have.
Well, and they always say, we're only going to be here a few hours. They're not going to be here for long. And 9 o'clock comes and they're finishing their dinner and you're going.
Yeah, they're supposed to be gone by 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
that's another thing where it's sad to say, but how many times have people said, well, just gonna stay for a couple hours. You go by 6 hours later, they're still sitting there.
Yeah.
But if they pay for their day, they're entitled to it.
Well, they shouldn't have visitors, but especially on a holiday.
Oh, Grumpy Cat, you're so grumpy.
Oh, yes.
The thing is, I agree with you on the holidays. We are generally full, okay? Now, you might not realize that we're only allowed to have a certain number of occupancy here at the campground, and that is by law, and it also affects our liability insurance. Statistically, do you realize that campers are not as likely to have the injuries and incidents as non-campers? Why? They don't know the policies, they don't know the campground, they don't know the rules, and so very often something happens. So that's a reason why we have to be careful with our visitors.
Our campers also have to tell their guests if they've got guests
Oh,
there.
yes.
They've got to remind them. You can't do that just because it's a campground.
This is true. This is true. You know, a lot of people say, well, why do I have to register my guests? Why can't I let them register themselves? They're grown adults. But here's the thing. When a camper has a visitor here, that visitor is theirs. So they register it, they pay for them, they make sure that they're abiding in the policies because, of course, they read the policies and signed on it before they came in, right?
Every camper's
Yeah.
supposed to do that.
And
A lot of them overlook it.
you know, for us, it's really uncomfortable when we're standing at the counter and someone comes in and goes, I have some friends that will be coming in, you know, and then we've got to tell them, didn't you read the visitor policy? You got to register, you got to pay for it. It's worse when we're just innocently standing behind the counter and someone comes in, oh, I'm here to visit the folks on, I don't know, N8. And do they know you're coming?
Don't you worry about that? You stop in a campground to
do.
visit somebody and they don't know you're coming. Mistake.
And it's
This is not good.
embarrassing for us. It's embarrassing for us because we're not going to ask them for money. They're your visitor. And imagine being at your campsite and someone comes trotting over to your camper and it's like, oh dear God, not them. Sometimes we come here to get away from people, you know?
Yeah.
So
We're harboring bad people, right?
our philosophy, Val, great, Grumpy Cat, you have got sunshine on your face, only on half of your face. There you go. At least now you look like you're in horizontal jail. But whatever, we do the best we can here in Grumpy Cat. But I wanted to remind you, we have our plan at Grandview is that you come in and you go, that you relax and enjoy the beauty of the campground, enjoy the space. You're not tripping all over people. And that's because we make sure we pay attention to how many people we can have in. A little aside, we didn't talk about this. Crazy Cat and I sometimes talk about that. Oh, I'm sorry. Grumpy Cat, a little crazy on the side.
Maybe last week.
That when, oh, now I totally lost my train of thought.
Grumpy Cat?
Yeah, no, you're Grumpy Cat. I was going to say something and now I forgot.
You were, but then
Well,
looked
you
it
know
up.
what? You'll
Beautiful
hear
writing.
about it in the next one. We want to make sure you come and you enjoy. Of course, you may want to have visitors, not on the holidays because we are already full. So that's pretty much, I think. Let me go over my little
I got a little
notes.
time to purr.
You pur while I just make sure we did this.
Purr, purr.
Okay. All right. You're all set. Another reason for having a charge for visitors is that each visitor adds to the expenses of running the campground, drop by drop, bit by bit. And rather than just jack up our prices, we have the visitors, the campers that have visitors, pay for their visitors to cover that. So remember that. We're looking out for you. We're always looking out.
Yeah,
For
I
our
mean, you know, looking out for other people is always a safe idea.
Yep.
You know, and
Yep.
if you ever have, they could be simple questions. There's no questions that aren't.
All questions are allowed. You may not like the answer.
That's
you get.
right. But sometimes you want to know when you feel a little foolish asking a question. Maybe they're not regular campers or whatever. But you can always ask.
Mm-hmm.
we're easy to talk to if you can find us.
All right, we hope you enjoyed that, and we hope that you understand a little bit more about having visitors.
If you
You
don't,
know,
ask.
ask and uh, have pity on us. So if you don't like the policies, ask, but you may like the answer, you may not.
Maybe surprised.
You will see Grumpy Cat again next month. Who knows what we'll be talking about? Till then, camp on.